All right, how to help an addict. Okay, you know, you hear it all over the internet. You hear popular opinion. You cut them off. Don't enable them. Do this. Don't do that. You got all this across the board. How to help an addict. Addicts generally, you know, that they need help, you know, but a lot of times you got to wait till a person's at a point where they're broken and they won't help. And I've heard it said that you don't have to be at the end of yourself before you get free from addiction. Well, from my experiences, you wouldn't want free from addiction until you got to the end of yourself because you're quite enjoying it. So I don't know anybody that's in the midst of the good part and everything's fun and everything's fine and dandy and everybody feels good and got plenty of money, and they say, hey, I don't want this for my life. No, generally it's kind of when you kind of start to hit that bottom is when you turn around. I'm not saying there can't be an incident where somebody is addicted for a while, they never really hit a bottom and then they quit, but from my experiences, the people that I've dealt with, it seems like when a person gets ready to change, it's because they have incentive to change, like where they won't go to prison, where they won't go to jail, where they won't lose their family, where they won't die. This is generally the type with people with addictive behavior, the time that they're getting ready to switch. That being said, me as a Christian, us as Christians, or as good moral people, you know, that love our neighbors and love our friends, what can we do to help? What's not helping is this right here, is browbeating people with judgments and talking about how much of a choice and how much of a decision they have. Now, I absolutely believe in free choice. I believe if we lived in a land of opportunities, and if you do right, make good choices, you can have a pretty good life. I believe you can choose heaven and you can choose hell. I believe you can choose God. I believe you can choose the adversary. I believe that you can choose to be on drugs or off of drugs. But here's the thing is we're beating up addicts that are all the way bound by the enemy by telling them to make the right decision. Now, here's the thing is we're not solely responsible. Their bad choices and decision has led them to a place where it is hard or sometimes maybe even impossible to make a good decision. So addiction, is it a choice? Is it a disease? Obviously, drug use usually starts off as a choice. And then you move into that and you begin to get bound and more bound. It's like a chain. It wraps around you, you know, and more bound by bad decisions. And before you know it, you get to a place which, let's just call it possessed by a drug or by the desire for addiction, and it will overcome you. And now the very definition of possessed, if you believe in possession, is where you actually hand over and lose your will. So that would leave a person at a place where they can't make the decision, the choice, to do the right thing because they're so bound by the sin or so bound by whatever this is, you know, some call it a sin, some say it's a disease, this or that. But anyway, spiritually, you become bound and you can't make that good choice that everybody wants you to make to get free. Here's this thing. If the person's still got the mind and the conscience at this point, the best thing they can do is cry out to God for supernatural help because you've got yourself into some demonic bondage and there is a war going on for your life, and the only thing that can help is the Father of life himself, and that's Jesus. So if you'll call out to him and ask him to come in you and to help you right where you're at without being able to change yourself, he can offer you some supernatural help. But here's the thing that Christians need to do, instead of continuing to beat up and talk about bad decisions and bad choices and this and that, is intercede, which, let me help you with that. That is prayer. Prayer works. So if you got a person that you love or somebody that you don't love so much anymore because they've took you down through there and you really want to see them get free, instead of browbeating them and asking them why don't they make the right decisions, consider maybe that they're in a part of their bondage and their hopelessness where they believe in such a lie that they can't consciously make the right decision because of shame or any other kind of demonic vice that's been set up around them. So you, me, as good people that love them, we begin to pray and we begin to ask the Lord to break these things off of them and to bring them back to a place spiritually where they can make a good conscious choice and decision. There's power in prayer. And this thing with addiction, either in our family, in ourselves, this thing is spiritual, it's demonic, and it's death. And the way that we handle that is in prayer. We do not war against flesh and blood. We war against evil principalities and powers of dark places. And how do we war? We war with prayer. We war with faith. We war with the Word of God. We war with peace is one of our main weapons. Okay, and so by doing so, it's not saying we agree with what you're doing, but I'm not going to so harshly judge you and be mad and hate you because you're making bad choices. You made bad choices, and now you've been in a place where you're bound. It's my job to gently restore you as fellow mankind and pray and intercede. So in saying all of this, is addiction, is it a choice? It probably starts off as a choice. At least the drug use does. The time somebody's addicted and they're bound, a lot of times they choose being bound over having to face real life hurts. A lot of times they choose drugs over life because life hurts so bad from their perspective. Okay? Most people are using drugs because it hurts. It's like a medicine. Subconsciously, I can remember the first time I did ice. The first time I did ice, it took all the pain away. All the pain from my daddy being sick and dying. All the pain from abuse and bad relationships. It was like an emotional, spiritual pain pill. And I took it and bam, I was better. Okay? Now, I didn't realize why I was doing it. Now I'm doing it because I love it. But anyways, I become so bound by this demon and demonic force that I lived in a dark spiritual realm. I got to a place on that any given day, I wasn't operating in a place where I could make a good decision. You know, I was so insane and so much insanity, I didn't know what a good decision was. But luckily, I had people that believed in me, that could see further than I could, and that believed in my destiny, and believed in what God had in my life, and they began to pray and intercede. And the angelic host of heavens, I believe, intervened, because people were contending for my life through prayer and intercession by faith. And it began to pull me out. And I began to get convicted, and I began to weigh out this thing, good and evil, darkness and light. But that, and choose one, pick one that's I gained that place of choice again. And now it was when I was at a very bad place. It was at a place where I was facing federal prison and state prison and disease and death and people wanting to kill me. So yes, I hit a bottom, and in that bottom, I believe the Lord actually brought me to some of the bottom, and it wasn't because he was trying to hurt me. He was just showing me the realm that I was living in. And but anyway, so I called out to the Lord, and the Lord rescued me. Now that brings it to, is addiction a disease? I believe that, I guess it is a disease, but I know in Psalms 103, you say, is it a sin or is it a disease? In Psalms 103, it says, forget not all of my benefits. I forgive all of your sins, and I heal all of your disease. So if it's a sin, if it's a disease, whatever it is, I believe the Lord's the remedy. I believe when we're restored to our rightful state in the Lord and our rightful identity, I believe that my nature may be an addictive nature. I know that if I decide to get high again, then I'm probably going to be addicted. But that doesn't mean that's who I am. Because I am a child of God. I am a son of God. Now, here's the thing is I'm a big boy. I'm on a diet right now. I'm not eating sugars. But, I'm also smart enough to know if I get to eating it, it'll become a habit of mine again, and I'll be addicted to that, and I'll probably gain weight. Just like if I stopped and got a bag of crystal meth, I'm pretty sure that it would take me right back to the same place. Or worse. It says even worse. So I'm not saying I don't have an addictive nature in my flesh. I'm just saying I'm not my flesh. Okay? It's a part of me, but I can identify myself as, I'm Daniel, I'm a lifelong addict. I'm Daniel, I'm a lifelong addicted. No, I'm Daniel, a child of God that has an allergic reaction to drugs. I take drugs and I break out into a horrible person. But and there's good principles and there's good things throughout life, whether it's AA, NA, whether it's celebrate recovery, whatever. What you need is good accountability. You need spirit, you need accountability. You need relationships. You need purpose. You need to be plugged in. You need to be living for something bigger than you. You need to have people around you to tell you the truth. People around you that you can tell what you're thinking and they can help you through it. All those are good principles for anybody. And it doesn't matter what your issue is. But anyways, that's my thought on, is it a disease? Is it this? Is it that? I don't know, but I'm telling you there's freedom. But anyways, I love you guys. Don't want this thing to go too long. God bless you. I pray freedom over you. And the key to this whole thing, if you got somebody that's suffering from addiction, is get your faith up, pray for them, intercede for them, allow them to get back to a place where they can make a good decision. and out of our hurts and out of our judgments, let's be careful and not speak condemnation and curses and everything on them. Let's trust the Lord. And people are coming free in masses from drugs. Masses, we're seeing people get free. There's a lot of people dying. There's a lot of people on heroin, and it's an epidemic. But I'm going to tell you what, it's moving just as fast. There's more people coming off drugs and coming out of darkness than ever before, just as well. Don't think that the kingdom of darkness is advancing by itself. The Lord's kingdom is advancing, and there's people calling on the Lord, and people getting saved, and people getting free. So anyways, I love you guys. Bless you guys. Peace to you. And just pray. Have faith. If you're praying for somebody that's addicted, or if you're addicted yourself, and the Lord himself will set you free. God bless.